Returning to the Titanic. Just 2 months after the implosion of the Titan submersible, one Georgia-based company now wants to head back down to the bottom of the ocean to recover artifacts from the Titanic wreckage for public exhibitions. But the U.S. government right now is saying, not so fast. A federal law and an international agreement treating the shipwreck as a hallowed gravesite may prevent the expedition. Over to the panel. Scott, you knew the attorneys would get involved here.
I don't know. Or no, better yet, maybe not, right?
What's the issue here?
The issue is whether this law and this international agreement and this federal law trumps the salvage rights of this private company in Georgia.
Because they own the ability. They own it.
They
like
went
theirs.
down 20
the
years
Titanic
ago,
is like
right?
Theirs, essentially.
And they've left the Titanic there. They took some artifacts 20 years ago, and they want to go back and get more. I think the private company is trying to give the federal court comfort and DOJ comfort that they are not there to break up the ship. Yeah. They're not there to cut through any material. They want the artifacts around the site, and they're not trying to bring back any bodies.
I also found interesting that there's like a permit involved to go down, and now they're being blocked on the permit. It seems like a little bit of a, you know, not necessarily connected to the Titan, but like we just had that, and now there's a fight over permits. Like you figured this was coming.
Well, you know, I'm not a lawyer and I don't know the legality of this, but I did see Titanic 6 times in the theater, and big Leo DiCaprio fan at the time. But to see the actual footage in the movie was riveting, and I think it engaged a whole new generation in the shipwreck. And so I think there's an educational element to this that I'm interested in, and if they can figure it out legally, it's one of those pieces of history that you can keep people apprised of and engaged in.
Look for the lawyers on both sides, DOJ and the company lawyers, to engage in settlement discussions, right? Okay. Because if you leave it up to a third jurist, like a judge, right, he's got to weigh these salvage rights and the enforceability of them and this federal law that says this is a gravesite. This is more than a gravesite. Yeah, and so this will be a difficult issue.
It's interesting.
Look for both sides to settle.
But this is, I mean, it's different. I know the Titanic
it's in international
is unique.
Waters too,
it's in international waters.
Right. That's a whole other issue.
You know, it's also not in Great Britain or the United States' waters. So why we are making agreements on this is beyond me. Right. But it's interesting because we don't treat all shipwrecks equally. I mean, obviously the Titanic is protected. People are celebrated for finding shipwrecks where people died that are filled with gold from back during the explorers' times. And so how do you deal with these rights? And the worst part for me is that the ship is disintegrating. We know this, science has proven it. It will be gone in a certain number of decades. Yeah. And so so
should we leave it alone?
If the Marconi device, the telegraph where they were sending out the SOS, or if the dishes, we're not talking about bodies or anything like that. Right. If you can salvage that and bring it so it could be preserved for posterity
and educational
without disrupting, not tearing it apart, then I think there's probably a long-term benefit. It won't always be down there the way it is right now.
I think maybe they should just make a deal with the U.S. government and this company, and if they find the heart of the ocean necklace that they're letting through in the end, then they can split the difference and make some money out of it.
Close the budget loophole.
Little known fact.
Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to subscribe. Click the red button to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.